Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Robert Phoenix. I'm back again. I apologize for the delay and being tardy, as they say. You remember when you were in school and you were classified as being tardy? I wonder if they could get away with classifying people as tardy now. Just, because tardy might be an abbreviated version for retarded, right? But you're tardy today, Mr. Morris. Why? Can you please explain your tardiness to the classroom? Uh, Tardiness. Yes. Let's see. Here we go. All right, we got people showing up. Hey, thanks for being here today. Again, I apologize for being late. Yesterday was a very intense day. I have to say. I did 3 readings yesterday, and just pulling out kind of all the stops, all the chi. Hold on one second. To work with people during a very calamitous and chaotic time. So I was a little crashed, as they say, by the end of the day, and I actually slept quite a long time. But that's the way these days are. That's the way these times are. And some of what I'll share with you are stories from the front and people that I have encountered and what their lives are like and what they're going through and how they're doing everything in their power to cope. I'm going to do some of that today. I'll share a story with you today. Plus, we'll look at big picture Corona stuff. Before I do that, let me get into Chatlandia and check in with you guys. Let's see. We've got Lisa Marie. Hey, Lisa, nice to see you. There's Fup. What's happening? There's Zero Dragon and Ian. There's my man Steve. You're gonna get to see Steve this Friday. You're gonna get to see Steve. Steve is gonna be moderating the experience. We're gonna call it the experience. We're gonna call it the experience. That's what this Friday is gonna be. It's the experience, and it's gonna be with our good friend Masaki Miyagawa bringing out the howitzer pyramid. And we're going to be joined by Kavena Charlotte, who is a psychic and a medium from Portland, Oregon. And we're going to do a live session, and we're going to look at Corona and a bunch of other things. So Steve will also be in, and he'll be moderating. We're going to have a Q&A session as well, so that you'll be able to actually ask Kavena questions regarding stuff, right? Probably not personal stuff, but more like collective stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think we're going to do that for about an hour. And I've got another guest that I'm lining up. Steve, which you haven't, this has just come to me like in the last couple hours, like this morning, actually. So I haven't had a chance to share it with you. But I've been in contact with Les Walgreen, who is the heir to the Walgreen drugstore fortune. Okay, so drugstores are a big story now, right? So Les Walgreen and I have been communicating this morning. I want to thank Jolie for hooking us up. And Les Walgreen is also somebody who is a plumber. That's the new word that I have for what we do. We're plumbers because we unclog the drains, right? We stick the snakes way down into the drains and we unclog the drains. And it's funny because that's what Nixon's Watergate crew was called, plumbers. They were called the plumbers because they were dressed as plumbers in the Watergate hotel complex in Maryland. And they were, bugging rooms and stuff like that. You look back at that whole thing, that whole time with Nixon and the plumbers, and it's just like, it's so kindergarten now. It is just so kindergarten. By the way, I'm wearing my Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan shirt today. There he is, voice of the century. Saw Nusrat when I was in my 30s, one of the most spectacular shows I've ever seen. Jasper, what's up with you, man? Jasper's crashed. He's in his Jasper pad. He's taking it easy this morning. So yeah, the Nusrat show was amazing. Anyway, getting back to Les Walgreen and him as a guest. He's he's a researcher, and obviously pretty connected at a high level, right? So he's going to be on the show on Friday as well. So you want to tune in on Friday. It's going to be very cool, and you're going to get a lot of information. And that's the way it's going to be here. That's the way it's going for the show and moving forward. It's going to be wall to wall information. Starting next Monday. I'll be doing Mondays again, just to get information out there so we can stay connected. It's a very important thing to be able to do, to stay connected. You know, somebody brought up this. I guess it was the Crimmies yesterday. I didn't see it in chat, but I was told about it. You see, I get told things about what happens in chat when I'm not looking. I have eyes everywhere. That babies will die if they don't get touched, right? That human touch is an integral part of our experience. It's really important, really, really important. And now we're in a time where we're being told not to touch each other, to have social distancing and do the elbow bump or do the fist bump, or, you know, this is a really, really kind of critical and crucial part of, again, our immunity. Because when we touch, what does it do? It creates oxytocin. What does oxytocin do? It brings our stress levels down. And if our stress levels are down, our cortisol is down. And when our cortisol is down, the rest of our endocrine system is able to function at a more efficient and powerful level, right? It does what it's supposed to do. So this is a really big thing. Don't be afraid of touching people that are close to you. All right, it's just the way it is. If you live with somebody, right, and in fact, it could be a really good time to, kind of up your amplitude of hugging and closeness. Maybe that's another way we can defeat the so-called coronavirus, is by hugging it out. All right, let's see who else we have in chat. We've got Colleen. Hey, Colleen, and Mary. Hi, Mary. Nice to see you. There's Beth Berry and Denise. Hi, Denise. There's Christy. Hey, Christy, and Carrie Rose, and Jenny, and the amazing Ani Brito. Let's see. There's Jennifer Fitzgerald. Hey, Jennifer. Diana. There we go. Look at, I knew that would get a rise out of you, Chris and Steve. Steve mostly. Greatest singer of all time. Yeah, that was an amazing show. Wow, an actual lead should be interesting. It should be, right? Let's see, Uncle Glenn. So many agendas being pushed. It's hard to count them. Yep. Hey, there's Stephen. What's happening? And there's Kathy Warner Leap, and Phoebe Kane. Sherry, hi. What's going on, Sherry? Nice to see you. Welcome to the proceedings. So before we get into the sort of the news of the day with Corona and more, I just wanted to share with you a story from the front lines. One of my clients, and it's a tragedy in a lot of ways. Like, it's not a huge tragedy, but it is a mini tragedy, and it's a tragedy in the making that many people are going to be facing. Although this couple, who I've been working with for quite a while now, I'd say probably about 5 or 6 years, and I've watched them as a couple, young couple, have children and grow their business and grow in their community. And, they're a family that I've just been cheering on from the sidelines. It's like, yeah, you guys go, you do your thing, keep getting better. And, they come in for a tune up every now and then. And, I've been working with them. And they're in the concert and event promotion business. And of course, I don't need to really elaborate more on that, because it's all canceled, shut down, closed. They can't do anything. And not only can they not do anything, but they had to lay people off, which is a story you're going to be hearing more and more about. The world is shutting down. The recreational, restaurant, concert event promotion, hotels, music, you name it, it's all shutting down. So one of the things that they had to deal with, and this is what I think really needs to be kind of front and center around this whole thing and the social condition, is that they had to deal with feelings of guilt and shame. And shame in the fact that they weren't able to kind of, what is this? I have some smush in my mustache. Sorry, I think it's gone. Sorry about that. A little real-time grooming. So they had theoretical shame. It's like people who are achievers, and when I say achievers, I'm not using it in a pejorative sense. You know, people that build things and work on things, they take pride in what they do, what they create. And unfortunately, we don't have like a fail-safe system for our emotional content because there are certain experiences or there are certain situations where we may never have encountered them. And we're kind of in that place right now. We're encountering things that we've never encountered before. So we're kind of in this no man's land now. And so we're having to redefine how we respond to whatever is going on in our social environment. And for some people, you know, there's always going to be a default. There's always going to be some kind of a default, like, oh, fuck, man. You know, I should have done this or I should have done that. And because there's this thing with time that's happening, and time is being really compressed right now, which is what I've been talking about with this whole kind of Capricorn and Saturnian effect, is the compression of time. Well, that's kind of useless at this point. Okay, you can look back all you want. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you be in the moment right now. So again, I was talking about this at the Austin Astrological Society before the new year. This was back in December. And I said to people there, I said, you have got to get right here, right now. And it was so weird, man. It was so weird. I said, what if I told you you had 6 months to just get it together? And whatever you needed to resolve, you just had to resolve. Like, this is a time where you can't hang on to any inner child shit or anything like that. And I said that. It was like that was what my message was. So we can't go back now. The going back is not going to help us. So we've got to drop the past. And you just got to be right here, right now. And you got to be adaptable to what's happening in real time, whatever real time is. So how they responded to this event was shame. There was like a feeling of shame, but there was nothing to be ashamed about. This is beyond their control. It was beyond their control. There's nothing they could do. What are you going to do? Like, get a bunch of AK-47s and have, you know, your guards go outside like the St. Patrick's Day, you know, beer garden or whatever, and force people in and keep people out that want to shut it down? I mean, there's nothing that they could do. And then they had to lay some staff off, and the staff wasn't happy with them. Like, the staff wouldn't even return their call, you know. And now the guilt comes in. So we're going to have to deal with some of these very tricky emotions, and we're going to have to deal with them very quickly. So one of the things that I prescribed was that they should be grieving their business at this point, but to grieve it quickly and then move on, because it's not going to do any of us any good to be able to or have to stay in a place of deep mourning. You know, there could be a time for that later on if this thing continues to spiral out of control, right? There could be a time for that, but this is not the time. So, you know, things are changing, and they're going to change, and they will change even more. So we have to get into real time, and it's very, very important. I don't think we have the luxury right now of indulging in certain emotional reactions. I don't think we have the luxury of indulging in things like guilt or regret or remorse, unless, of course, it brings us to a place where our heart is open. In that case, it's a good thing to do, and I would encourage it. But you can't stay there, because there's so much to do in the present, and there's so much to do in the now. And I don't know if they're going to follow what my script was, but again, so a lot of this is based on astrology and their charts. But I really saw that this would be a time for them to really step up into their community and make a video for their community, and also even look at doing a remote events where they could produce like live music and stream it to people so that people have something to watch and listen to. And streaming the live event could be actually a good thing. Um, and then even possibly looking at doing something very charitable. Because when I worked with them, I had their composite chart, and the composite chart was Pisces on the ascendant, which is again being very charitable and kind and compassionate, all those kinds of Piscean attributes. But even to maybe figure out how to do like a mini telethon or something like that, where they could actually, have like a GoFundMe and raise money for the service workers in that area. I mean, these are things that we can do, right? We're not powerless during a time like this. And in fact, we have to find ways in which we can stay empowered, and not in feudal kinds of ways, but very realistic and very manageable and very doable kinds of ways. So this is just one story, and we're going to hear more stories, no doubt. I had another client. Again, I talked about her, I believe yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and she's in her 70s, and she's a substitute teacher at a school outside of Seattle. She got laid off, and she has no benefits that the other regular teachers have. So again, I huddled with her, and what can she do during a time like this? I had another client yesterday. She's a health coach, and she's not going to be able to see people. So what does she do? What can she do? Well, she's going to have to reinvent herself and get into the online space. And we talked about that. And again, this is somebody who has Venus and Neptune in their 11th house, which means that they could probably do pretty well if they decided that they wanted to get in the online space. And I said, I think would be very helpful is if you created a video, like your calling card, so that you could really address it to people and say, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing, I'm here to help you, blah, 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 blah. And she said, that's really interesting because I've just been talking with somebody about doing a video, like a video card or a video calling card. It's like, yeah, there you go. It's all about adaptability, folks. We're headed into that true node in Gemini. It's about adaptability. We have to be adaptable in the most immediate sense of the word adaptability. So I just want to let you know I'm here for you. And I do have my Corona, King Corona reading special, which is up on my website. I will put the link in the show page today in case anybody wants to take me up on it. I'll also post it over on Facebook, in both my group page and also my regular Facebook page as well. And we've gotten some good response out of that. I'm also going to be lowering the price of my astrology course as well. So if you're sitting around and you're at home and you want to study astrology while you've got some time off, I've got the thing for you. So I'm gonna lower that today. Already sold one course yesterday with one of my clients, and it's a good thing. It's actually a really good tool. So I'm going to make that available. So I'm basically lowering the bar for everything that I do price wise, so you can get as much out of me and my service as possible. And then later today, hopefully at the latest by tomorrow, I'll have a schedule of webinars up so that you'll be able to actually stay at home and do some learning with webinars. And it should be really, really good. Again, I'll make those really super affordable so that that the barrier to get in will be quite low, but it'll give you something to do. And I plan on staying active and engaged as much as I can during this time. And that's my commitment to you. Okay. All right. Where do we want to go from here? where do we want to go from here? One of the things that is starting to come up now, and I don't normally get into this world because I'm somebody who tends to be like I can make leaps, I can make quantum leaps, and get into ideas and theories and make connections and dots. So I don't necessarily have to be chained to so-called reality. But I also think that well, and not about and there is a whole level of the suspension of disbelief that I have not been willing to buy into. Okay, and what I'm referring to is sort of the ongoing how do I say this, dissemination of information that the elites are being taken down. Like this person is being taken down, this person is being taken down, this person is being taken down. Of course, this is all in Q territory. And one of the things that I've been reading is that these celebrities will have, one of two options. They'll either get to Rommel themselves, meaning, Rommel was essentially taken back to Germany. And then it's like, well, you can either shoot yourself and commit suicide, or we'll disgrace your house by putting you in front of a firing squad. It's your choice, right? So this is kind of going on in the so-called truther movement, or the red pill movement, or the Q movement, that these people are going to be given this choice. So I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of interesting, right? Um, but there's this idea that everything is happening because they have to shut everything down because they need to basically disinfect the system and start pulling people out, right? Start pulling people out, which means that they're going to pull the people out. They're going to unplug this. They're going to unplug that. They need people in their homes because what they're going to do is going to be drastic. So they have to make sure that the crowd control is manageable, that the hysteria is manageable, all those things. This is being done for our best interests, right? So one of the things that I come up with against these theories is that why does there have to be so much Sturm and Drang around it? Why does it have to be such an elaborate kind of network of cloak and dagger, leisure domain? And that's not to say, by the way, that I don't think something's happening, because I do think something is happening. Now, this goes back to that video that I played with Oprah, and she's getting the shit trolled out of her on Twitter right now, big time. It's like she's being hounded by people like a swarm of bees. But when I played that video of her and she was talking about balance and health and she fell, I'm like, okay, here we go. This is interesting. This is an event, right? That to me was about the most cogent and symbolic yet literal thing that I'd ever seen, because she fell out of fucking nowhere. Okay. And when she fell, there was this kind of crescendo moment. Like, the lights were getting bright. It was all totally scripted, and the lights are getting bright and the music is starting to, begin to rise to this kind of crescendo thing. And as she's getting ready to really make her point and drive it home so that the audience would really get it, she falls. I'm like, wow, that's really, really interesting. It reminded me of that time when Kanye West hit his head on the sign. It was like, how much more literal can you be? How much more literal can you be, bro? It's a sign. So that's not to say that I don't think something is happening or going on. But again, my feeling is that it would be a lot better and a lot easier to have done some of this along the way. And you can say, well, they have to do behind the scenes. Again, in that realm, I'm more of a literalist. In the realm of possibility, quantum consciousness, being able to connect, kind of hyperlink events and material. I'm not as much of a literalist, but I need to see things in order to sign off on them. Because if I don't see something that I can't sign off on, then it's like, why? Just trust the plan. I've been conditioned to not trust the plan, and maybe that's on me. So let me give you an example. Okay. It's very easy, by the way, very, very easy to take somebody out of circulation. Very easy. It's very easy to freeze somebody's assets. It's very easy to heart attack somebody. Look at all the people that have been associated with the Clintons and being Arkancided and the Clinton death squad or the Clinton death list. We've seen that. We've seen those numbers. So, and I'm not advocating that these people necessarily be taken out, but if it's so easy to happen on one side of the ledger sheet, why isn't it happening on the other side of the ledger sheet? Instead of Kevin Spacey somehow having a freak ass heart attack, what happens? The guy who's his accuser has a freak ass heart attack. Instead of something coming out around the what was his name? Anthony Weiner, the Weiner laptop. Instead of something coming out with that, what happens? The NYPD guys that actually saw and looked at that laptop, they're dropping like flies. You see where I'm coming from with this? Right? So we're expected to believe a certain narrative that all these things are starting to happen. And they may actually be happening. I'm not ruling that out of the realm of possibility. And I know that there are people in chat who firmly believe that this is taking place. And who knows? Maybe it is. We're going to find out. Or maybe we won't. And if we won't, if all of a sudden everything gets turned back on again and the system's turned back on again and these people are no longer around, well, I guess we have our answer, right? So apparently Tom Hanks brought an old Corona typewriter to Australia with him. Is that because Colonel Tom Parker needed to have a Corona typewriter as part of the Elvis movie? It's an interesting role for Tom Hanks to play because Colonel Tom Parker was a vampire. He was a fucking vampire. He was a bad, bad person. Really terrible, terrible individual. And essentially sucked Elvis dry until there was nothing left. It'd be interesting how he'd be portrayed in that movie. And I bet you Tom Hanks would play a character like that because somehow it would, sort of be this hidden in plain sight extrapolation of his soul. So, where I'm coming from with this, that it would be and it's like this whole thing. Well, Weinstein squealed like a pig and he got 23 years instead of life. That's possible. How much more do they need to know? I mean, let's be honest here. They had Weiner's laptop. They've been following Jeffrey Epstein for fucking years. Okay, it's not like he was not a person of interest. Trust me, he was. And they have reams and reams and reams of information. A friend of mine told me this story. My buddy Robert Bonomo, you guys know him. He did that wonderful film on the Tarot. We were talking yesterday, 2 days ago. And he told me a story about a friend of his who was at the Frankfurt airport. And he was on a Skype call with his mother at the Frankfurt airport. And all of a sudden, the computers stopped working on Skype. The Skype went dead. Just like that. And then out of the blue, within like minutes of that happening, this guy walks up to him and starts talking. He says, "Are you so-and-so? Hello, are you so-and-so?" And the guy's like, what? Yeah, I'm so-and-so. Who are you? Well, my name is so-and-so, and I'm from the U.S. State Department and the consulate here in Frankfurt. And, just like to have a little conversation with you. So think about that for a moment, okay? This guy is just some, pardon my language, Joe fucking Blow. And he's in Frankfurt and he's just hanging out there, having a Skype call with his mom. And then this guy comes up, they shut it down, and that this guy actually knows he's there. Okay, he knows he's there. He knows who he is, and he actually has information on his background, and starts having a little Q&A with him at the airport. And that's just a regular person. What do you think they know on these so-called adrenochrome pushers and pimps? They know fucking everything. Are you kidding me? I mean, if they wanted to, the NSA and the Five Eyes and everything else could zoom in on a hair on your butt. Okay, this is how intense the surveillance state has been. So why do they need somebody like Harvey Weinstein to spill the beans? And I know that maybe he did, and maybe it's just kind of more like secret stuff, like the tunnels under Oprah's house. But again, this is a country that has a massive, and I mean a massive surveillance system that's been rolled out since post 9/11. And even before that, they were using things like the Promise software to grab keywords from everybody's freaking conversation. And I guess if they use the word pizza, hot dogs, and walnut sauce enough, that they'd be able to decode that at some point, right? So apparently now Ellen DeGeneres was served with an arrest warrant. Now this is just kind of breaking. I haven't been able to corroborate it. And if that's the case, then wouldn't that just be happy, happy, joy, joy? You know what's really interesting? I've just been thinking about this. Is that John Travolta, who is down and out for the count for now. Who knows where he is? John Travolta, Oprah, and Ellen DeGeneres are all Aquarians. They're all Aquarians. And if I went through and scoured the list of people that are on ice or under scrutiny, I bet you I'd find that there'd be more than just a few other Aquarians. Tom Cruise, who's checked out, is a Cancer, and I think Tom Hanks might be a Cancer. Let me see what's up with Tom Hanks. I'm just doing a quick search here. Tom Hanks, some good news. Offers some good news. Tom Hanks has the blahs as he and Rita Wilson recover from coronavirus. Tom Hanks in isolation, no fever, but the blahs. When was the last time you had the blahs? Yeah, Tom Hanks is a Cancer, July 9th. That's what I thought. The blahs. Be a good name for a band, the blahs. So are we seeing something along these lines? Now, this is kind of what the brief conversation I had with Les Walgreen this morning. It was very, very brief. And that's my sense that he's got some inside info, some intel that he wants to bring to a larger audience. So we're going to find that out on Friday, and we're going to get a ringside seat theoretically as to what might be happening on that front. What do you guys think? I'd like to know. What are your thoughts around trusting the plan and flushing the system? Again, I have my thoughts about it. It could have been done, should have been done a long time ago, right? We could have seen people really being taken out. You know, we could have seen people being heart attacked or whatever. Now, I think that would have sent a message, a much clearer message to these perps in some ways. So what do you guys think? Is this what's happening? Is this the script, one of the scripts behind coronavirus? Let's see where you are with everything. Courtney Love, July 9th is a Cancer. She is, absolutely. So Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Courtney Love, Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. I think it's one big distraction while the collapse of the global economy. Uncle Glenn, you and I are on the same page there. Funny, no one cared when Peter Scolari couldn't recover from Hanks. Well, that was the guy that was in Bosom Buddies, right? With him? Yeah. So is O.J. Simpson, another Cancer. What sun sign is Harvey? Harvey Weinstein is a Pisces. He's the last day of Pisces. Kevin says just economic reasons. Q, another hurry up and wait psyop. Anything on Meryl Streep? Meryl Streep, I think, isn't she a Cancer as well? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I think she's a Cancer. I have to look it up. Pretty sure, though. I'm looking for a positive thought to share. Let's enjoy and magnify our heart and crown chakra connection love. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. We always do that. But you know where I go. Something came to me last night. This is just in meditation. If the Nazis had the technology we have today in the 20th century, they have boots on the ground. The Nazis did have a lot of the technology that we have. And in fact, we have a lot of the technology we have now thanks to the Nazis, Justin. Hey, Rob, I'm with you. I think it's admixture. There's no real plan. It's seizing opportunities. Hey, there's the Bisu. Harvey, March 19th. Yeah, he's the end of Pisces. Absolutely. 29 degrees Pisces. The robots are coming. That they are, Michael. That they are. How about all the corporate leaders that have stepped down? Well, that's a really interesting question. Okay, so I'm kind of an Occam's razor guy in this area. In other areas, I think Occam's razor is a dull blade. But in this area with the corporate leaders that have stepped down, I think it could be as simple as them bugging out. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of Jacobin revolution where they start hanging from nooses. I think that could be a case of them just bugging out and get the hell out. And by the way, and I talked about this before, that if you look at Trump's chart, he's got algol, fixed star algol right on top of his midheaven. So Trump brings with him Jacobin French Revolution energy, the gallows, the hanging nooses, the swinging of the elite and even the not so elite. And I did a series of Sunday Night Live shows with Trump's chart and Ivanka's chart and Marie Antoinette and Louis, and the connections were off the charts, absolutely off the charts. So he brings with him that vibration and that energy, the chopping block, the decapitation, the Society de Guillotine, right? So that's part of what he brings to the party. So we're in it now, and we're going to continue to be in this thing as everything begins to shut down. The system suffering from both economic and social necrosis. But again, that should not deter you from living your life, from finding something meaningful and something that's got a very solution sort of based opportunity and moment for you in this time. And I'm all about that. I am all about that. I think it's essential. And I also have been talking about, again, let me throw this out there to you guys too. So the husband of the family that I worked with yesterday, he's in a tough space astrologically. He's got a sun conjunction with the South Node, and he's got Neptune on the South Node right now, which could be very difficult from a spiritual standpoint, right? That's just like throwing in the towel energy. And I was really feeling for that. He's a good guy too. Then I saw Mars on his midheaven at 29 degrees Aquarius, anaretic degree, which is the warrior, right? It's the warrior for the community. And it feels like that this time and these conditions are the telomeric switches. Like the telomeric switches inside of us, which remind us that, this is our time. This is the time that we theoretically have the opportunity to like switch the God gene on, or the God gene is already switched on and time to change the light bulbs there, right? To change the light bulbs, to bring in some higher wattage, brighter lumens. That theoretically, this is the time of the hero and the heroine. Like I could see in that guy's chart that he will do something in the not so distant future that will be both advantageous and step up to his destiny, right? To step up to his destiny and kick in with that Mars on the midheaven at 29 Aquarius. Like he has to. That's the agreement at 29 Aquarius. The anaretic degree, he has to activate that. That's how the 29th degree works. And we're coming to the 29th degree of Pisces very, very quickly here. So I also wanted to bring another piece of information into the discussion, and it has to do with the Georgia Guidestones, which has been, again, one of these background scripts that's been running during this time. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, they're in Georgia, and they have these precepts, right? These laws, not even laws. It's kind of like, here's the blueprint for humanity to be able to survive during a coming time and period, and to do so in a sense of hold on one second. Hold on. It's a client. I apologize. We're in many hats, spinning lots of plates, lots of plates. So that 29th degree is a commitment, and that's being kind of an Aquarian warrior for his community, because that's what Aquarius does. So these are the times we're waking up into, right? These are the times we're waking up into. And these are interesting times. They're powerful times. These are the times of destiny. And this is where our destiny begins to unfold in ways that that we can't really even understand to some degree. You know? And this is what I've been talking about with people like, well, don't you have a plan? Don't you have a plan? What's the plan? Well, the plan is that things are going to get switched on inside of us. And that when they get switched on, we get to access what's being switched on. And trust me, I understand this from a personal level. So this is everybody's time to get switched on. So you want to talk about love and life and light and all that stuff. Well, it's going to be inside of you, and you get to get switched on during a time when things are getting switched off. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that paradoxical? But doesn't that make the most sense, right? And let's hope more people get switched on during this time, because it's an important opportunity to come to the party. I was watching Trump yesterday with Steve Mnuchin. Isn't Steve Mnuchin one of those guys you just want to punch? There's certain people, certain faces you just want to punch. At least I do. And I think Mnuchin has a punch face. I couldn't believe what this guy was saying yesterday. Like, what the fuck did they think we are? A bunch of 11-year-olds? It was insulting. It was really insulting. This is what he had to say. He said that that the fast food restaurants are going to play a very important role moving forward, right? So they're going to shut down all the private businesses. Like if you own a restaurant, you're going to be shut down. If you have just an independent restaurant, you'll be shut down. But guess who gets to stay open? Taco Bell, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Whataburger. All these places are going to stay open. Popeyes. And Mnuchin says these fast food restaurants are going to play an important role in the days to come, because you'll be able to go there and get food, okay? So they plan on feeding people through fucking fast food restaurants. Oh, all you have to do is you just get the app, and then you click on the app and you order your food and you go through the drive-through. When you get there, it'll be hot and ready to go and waiting for you. I mean, does he fucking think we're 11 or 12? It was one of the most insulting things I'd ever heard a public official announce since the lies they spewed out in the days after 9/11, which were triply insulting. Like, we're not going to give you any real food, but we'll give you this crap garbage food that who knows has what inside of it, the so-called natural flavorings, and we're this is how we're going to feed you. Like we know that Trump likes his fast food, but come on now, come on. This empty calories turn us all into, you know, fat diabetic blobs for that garbage. This is the oh they're going to play a major role moving forward. You're going to be kidding me. So chew on that. Like if you trust the plan, chew on that. Is that part of the plan? Do you get to have a couple of Big Macs and some fries and one of their fake shakes and just sit at home and watch Fox News and shut the fuck up and everything is good? Oh, come on. Sorry. Now I'm getting a little annoyed because that was one of the most insulting things I'd seen. He was smirking. The guy was smirking. Do you think Steve Mnuchin is going to wait at McDonald's for his food? No, no. Do you think he's going to be in the drive-through line? No. Now Trump, he just gets his fast food delivered to him. He just has his Secret Service guys that have been vetted because he knows that he doesn't want any poisoned food. So he'll get his fast food. He doesn't have to wait in line. Wouldn't that be a trip though? Right? Wouldn't that be a trip if you're at a fast food line somewhere? You're working like say McDonald's. All of a sudden this limo pulls up and the window rolls down and it's Trump and he's taking his 2 quarter pounders with cheese and fries. I would not be surprised if that becomes a photo op, by the way, to sell this thing. Yeah, your local markets are out of food, but McDonald's and Taco Bell are doing a booming business. You want to invest in the stock market, invest in fast food, because I guarantee you they're going to make a killing. And killing could be taken a couple different ways. All right, let's see what we have it here with Chatlandia, best chat group on the internet. Joan says pedo burgers. Brondo will fix everything. Is that LeBron? You should be annoyed. Don't you want flies with that? You guys are so funny. Everything remains open in Miami thus far. Good. Good. That's not happening in Austin. That's not happening in Austin. They shut down all the restaurants and bars and all. No gyms. I know. I had to make my own home gym. I wonder if all the underground bases and cities are under COVID quarantine. Possibly. Possibly. I think it's funny that Billy, Jeff, and Trump has that in common. Let's see what else do we have here. Uncle Glenn, junk food, vaccines, 5G forever. Tell me they're not trying to eliminate we the sheeple. Uncle Glenn, the evidence is clear and abundant on the table. It's hard to understand Trump's lack of understanding the garbage served by fast food. Let's see, what else? Bonnie Willow, I'm doing a meditation on Zoom for peace and healing every Thursday evening. There you go. There you go, Bonnie. That's a good thing. Very, very good thing. Bonnie, if you want, you should be leaving the link to your meditation in the comments for the show, not the comments in Chatlandia, but there's a section for comments after I do every YouTube live stream. So if you want to give people a link to your meditation program, you can do that. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting about Trump and nutrition. It's very interesting. Like why is he not more? And it's really funny too because when I first found out that that Trump was really into fast food and apparently he drinks Diet Coke, a lot of Diet Coke, which is obviously has aspartame. It's not good for him. When I first heard that, I brought it up in some area. I forget where it was. And somebody gave me some shit. It's like, oh, you're a food Nazi. No, you're one of those liberals. I'm like, no, I'm not. He can eat whatever he wants, right? But that's like the lowest form of freedom, if you ask me. That's the lowest form of expressing one's freedoms and rights, to be able to poison oneself. But it was so funny. You know what's else is weird, since we're on the subject of fast food and crap and garbage food, is if you have time, look up Warren Buffett's diet. Look up what Warren Buffett eats on a daily basis, supposedly. Maybe I should just do that right now. Let me real time this thing. See if I can figure it out. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is from Business Insider. I'll show you Warren Buffett's diet. This guy did this article called I Ate Like Warren Buffett for a Week and it was miserable. I'll show this to you. Buffett does not eat very healthy. My body felt terrible at the end of the week. Warren Buffett is one of the most successful investors in history. He also has a really weird diet. Let's look at his really weird diet. Hold on a second. Okay. So Warren Buffett is the second wealthiest man in the world. He's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway and a legendary investor, second wealthiest based on available statistics, not unavailable statistics. Possibly one of the most successful investors of all time. It's easy to be a successful investor when you know things are going to trend and break and have inside information. Warren Buffett eats like a child. He admittedly eats like a child. Maybe he eats a child. Maybe that's really the sentence that he really wanted to write. Not like a child, but actually eats a child. For breakfast, Buffett goes to McDonald's. He either has, if the market is down, he'll have just two sausage patties. If the market is flat, sausage McMuffin with egg and cheese. And if the market's up, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. He owns Dairy Queen. So a lot of Dairy Queen. And dinner is what was country fried steak smothered in gravy with mashed potatoes. Chicken Parmesan was one of my meals. I consumed 2 liters of cherry Coke every day over the course of 5 days. I had about 1,260 grams of sugar. That comes out to about 2.78 pounds of sugar. Also, one part of Buffett's kind of repertoire is to put extra salt on everything. I felt bloated every day. There would usually be like an intense sugar crash and caffeine crash from the cherry Coke. My coworkers were saying that I was irritable. I became especially lethargic. The last meal we went to Warren Buffett's favorite steakhouse in New York City, Smith & Wollensky. I said, just give me what the man himself got, which is honestly just a huge mistake. He usually gets the 32-ounce Colorado ribeye. So 2-pound steak attached to the bone, something you would, a caveman would beat someone else over the head with. It was absolutely massive. So, when I got home, I felt almost like food drunk. I was like bursting at the seams. So, honestly, I had the knee sweats again. I just took off my shirt and my pants and just laid down in the starfish motion on the ground in my living room, just staring up at the ceiling, contemplating how in the world an 87-year-old man has made it thus far in life, and B, continues to make it thus far in life, consuming the amount of calories and absolute terrible junk food that he does, and finally decided I wasn't going to eat anything but vegetables for the next 48 hours. Warren Buffett has one of the absolute worst diets ever. Buffett's diet of sugary soda, junk food, and limited vegetables has reached legendary status. The Berkshire Hathaway CEO drinks about 5 cans of Coca-Cola products a day, constantly munches on See's candies, and uses so much salt that John Stump, the former Wells Fargo CEO, said it was like a snowstorm. Business Insider has tried various people's diets, from Elon Musk's to Tom Brady. So I decided to take on Buffett's strange food taste for a work week to see what it was like. There was some basic ground rules: eat 3 meals a day, don't drink alcohol, and avoid vegetables. Overall, I just tried to maintain the general attitude by which the man himself defines his diet. I checked the actuarial tables. The lowest death rate is among 6-year-olds. So I decided to eat like a 6-year-old, Buffett told Fortune. It's the safest course I can take. Maybe he decided to eat a 6-year-old. That's the cornerstone of the Buffett diet, cherry Coke, right there. Buffett said he favored either Diet Coke or cherry Coke and at least 5 cans of the soda a day. I decided to opt exclusively for cherry Coke throughout the week, as I'm not the biggest fan of taste of plain Coke. I am, however, a fan of cherry and cherry adjacent soda products like Dr. Pepper and Cheerwine. It's a North Carolina thing. Google it. I also couldn't purchase cans of the stuff at my local grocery store, but a 2-liter works out to about 5.6 cans a day within the ballpark of Buffett's consumption. Thus, I decided to go with one of these each day. If you're wondering, that works out to 252 grams or 0.56 pounds of sugar a day from cherry Coke alone. That's right. I got 84% of my recommended daily carbohydrate take from just the sugar in the cherry Coke. On the first breakfast of the week, I was nervous, but I had a supply of foolish confidence in my ability to handle the week ahead. The HBO documentary Becoming Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, said his breakfast shake came from McDonald's. It was dictated by the stock market. Oh, so now we have McDonald's. You think Buffett's got a big stake in McDonald's? Typically, Buffett gets his breakfast once the market is open, the stocks are up, blah, 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 blah. I get to work around 7:30 a.m., meaning that I had to base my McDonald's selection on the pre-market futures, which tend to be a bit harder to gauge. So this guy was market dependent upon his breakfast. The first breakfast was too challenging. The biggest issue was the lack of coffee. As Buffett doesn't drink the stuff, that's quite interesting in some ways, right? I decided to front load the cherry Coke to get the caffeine usually from my coffee while also preventing myself from drinking soda well into the night. So this guy goes through this whole thing. The cherry Coke hit me like a ton of bricks. I don't drink much soda. I drink mostly water and coffee works. The sudden increase in the amount of corn syrup in my diet made me feel incredibly sluggish. Plus the sugar high was so off the charts. I almost felt like the tingle of the carbonation in my fingers as I was typing. Then again, I also put down half of the 2-liter before 11 a.m. in an attempt to front load the caffeine. My inner child was excited to have the ice cream in the middle of the day. The chili cheese dog decided to eat less. So that's from Dairy Queen. That's his Dairy Queen diet. The Sunday was delightful. Buffett says he typically gets cherry syrup on his DQ Sundays, which was not an option at my Manhattan location. I did get his preferred chopped nuts on top. So I guess Buffett prefers chopped nuts. I was feeling pretty weighed down at this point. I don't have a big lunch most days, a salad at most. So the extra calories and copious sugar made me feel bloated. Okay, I think we've read enough here. And this is what they want to serve us. This is going to be the emergency rations for North America as everything is shut down. So we get to eat like the rest of these so-called elites. The only difference is they're supplementing their diets in a different kind of way that we will not be able to supplement our diets with. Now, knowing what they supplement their diets with, perhaps that's not a bad thing. And perhaps it's actually a very good thing that we're not using whatever form of so-called supplementation that they take, that which allows them to metabolize all the garbage that they're eating. Okay. And I think you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Begins with an A and ends with an E. And has to do with the chrome that you put on your hubcaps, right? So guess what? We're going to get to eat like the elites, theoretically, but without the so-called nutritional supplements. All right, let me get into you guys in Chatlandia. Let's see. I hate to be in the vicinity of the bathroom where he evacuates. What else do we have? I gone off my diet this week. Something had to give, but having so much fun finding keto ways to make my favorite meals. There's a pharmaceutical corp in Wuhan that makes adrenochrome. Interesting. Yeah, you know, I read something about that purple sky. By the way, thank you for the comment from yesterday's show. Really, really great comment about AI. Great comment. Let's see, home cooked food is best. I stopped going to restaurants about 2 months ago. I had a few ventures and journeys out to restaurants, but very, very few. I've shut that down. I've been cooking at home now for really the last 2 months because again, I changed my diet. And if you are, which this is a really interesting thing too, right? If you are keto or you're paleo, which is a really good way to ignite your immune system, and you can't get the keto and you can't get the paleo dietary needs, what's going to happen to your immune system? It's not going to fire. It's not going to trigger. So one of the things that I would suggest people start doing, and I kind of do it myself. I really limit my meals now. I eat maybe 2 meals a day, if that. Sometimes I only eat 1 meal a day, depending upon when I eat. And that's to practice some fasting because the fasting will help ignite your immune system, right? If you can fast for 24 hours and use some good water, try and get some sunshine, that can be very, very helpful. And we may have to really depend on being able to not eat food for 24, 48 hours at a stretch. So you may want to get into some training with that. And again, what will it do? It will ignite your immune system. Okay. The other thing that I have been really urging people to do is to be proactive. And this is the time to plant a garden. Go out and plant a garden. Grow some veggies. If you have space, go get some chickens and start getting some eggs. This is the basic fundamental stuff that everybody should be doing if you have the space. If you don't have the space, figure out some other things that you can do. You can actually sprout and grow sprouts and stuff like that if you have a limited amount of space, and they're really cheap and easy to do. Okay, let me see one more sweep of Chatlandia. Let's see what else we have here. There's been no sunshine here for 2 weeks. Yeah, I know, right? They've been limiting that as well. Here in Ecuador, restaurants are still able to deliver their meals. That's kind of cool. The small restaurants are still in business. Well, that's good. Glad the small restaurants are still in business. You can deliver meals here, but if you're a waitress or a server or a busser, you're kind of fucked. Right. So again, what are we seeing? We're seeing the entrainment of delivery, which has been going on for a while. I mean, they've kind of like preloaded this thing with Grubhub and all these delivery services. They got people hooked on delivery services, so they can just order food in. Gee, isn't that interesting? Because that's what's happening now, and that's not a bad thing, I guess. If you have the money and you have the ability to get real food delivered to you, I would take that any day of the week over McDonald's. But it still doesn't help the people who have lost their jobs. And you know what's going to happen? Those people are paycheck to paycheck people. They're paycheck to paycheck. So what are they going to do? We have to think about these things. And again, we're not necessarily responsible for others. Let me be clear about that. We're responsible for ourselves. And if we choose to be responsible for others, or if we choose to help others or to serve others, that's something different. It's a choice. And I feel like it's a choice of a higher order. Serving others versus serving self is always going to bring something greater and more profound and more spiritually nutritious into your life. But you can't serve others unless you yourself are fed and you yourself have the proper spiritual and physical nutrition in your life. Okay, so just be clear about that. So I'm all in favor of serving. I'm a Virgo, for crying out loud. 29 degrees. I couldn't get out of it in this lifetime. But I've had to really, really learn that in order for me to be effective, I've had to take care of myself. This has been the big lesson for me over the last 2 years. And it's like I'm really glad that I made the life changes that I did, really heading into 2018 and really accelerating in 2019, these life changes, because here I am. And I'm probably in the best physical shape and form that I've been in since my 40s. So, and I had some idea that we were going to be heading into a time where physically we'd have to all be in as good a shape as possible. So that was my goal, and still continuing to commit to that. All right, let me do one more sweep here. 1-0 drag. My mom's pickup order was canceled by Walmart, West Sacramento. Almost no food. Yep, absolutely. JW says it's exactly right. We need to be healthy to serve others. You got that right. Christine, Virgo ascending. No wonder we get along, Christine. Repeat post for you, Robert. I finally caught the live chat. First time showing, discovered you on Jay Widener. Became this, love your take. Oh, thanks, Ryan. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Good job. Beautiful blue. Why don't we just go hang out with Bonnie? Let's go hang out with Bonnie. Can we just all go to Ecuador and go hang out with Bonnie? They got blue skies. The restaurants are open and they deliver. I mean, let's just all pool our resources together. And let's just go hang out with Bonnie and start a new world in Ecuador with Bonnie. Bonnie, how do you feel about that? I bet Bonnie be into that. Am I right, Bonnie? I'd love to do that. Steve says the public is used to being told this and that happened without any evidence. Exactly. The Mars transit through the outer planets. Bonnie says, "Come on down. Come on down." Casa Bonnie is about to open. We're going to reinvest in the new resets in Ecuador with Bonnie, and that's where we're going to create new Tartaria. All right, Bonnie, get ready. We're on our way. We're on our way. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. I got a client in half an hour. So thanks, everybody. You know, humor, spiritual nutrition, physical nutrition, connecting, bonding, joining, sharing. These are all really, really important themes for our time. That's going to change. We're headed towards versatility, mutability, adaptability, and being clever. Okay. That's where Gemini is taking us. That's where the true node is going. Be clever. Clever, not in the bad sense. Okay. Not in the bad sense. And I happen to be a rat. So I have kind of a, how do I say this? An access to being clever in a good way. Clever in the service of all. All right. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with another 15 minutes of flame. And Friday, you don't want to miss Friday. We're going to have the experience. And then Les Walgreen is going to be joining me, hopefully. Just have to tighten it up. He'll be joining me on Friday. If he can't join me live, I'll do a pre-record and make sure that I have that available so that we can get some insight from somebody who knows what the score is and is actually connected to a very, very, very powerful and very wealthy family. All right. If you want to subscribe to the show, I'll have that information at the bottom. Some of you have subscribed and some of you have gotten to the sort of the higher levels. I've been reaching out to you. Please send me your date of birth, time, and place so I can send you the 12-month transit report. Okay. So if you've subscribed recently, send me an email, rpm1122@zoho.com. That's rpm1122@zoho.com. If you've subscribed, shoot me your date of birth, time, place. I promise I will get you your 12-month transit report by the end of the day. If not by the end of the day, certainly by tomorrow. Okay? All right. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to step what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Keep the song in your heart alive. We're going to get through this, and we're going to find a place on the other side where we're going to thrive together. That's it for today. Take good care.